back, demanding Mosby recuse herself from the case. One sheriff says this case is, quote, Duke Lacrosse case all over again. That sheriff joins us now, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. Sheriff, thank you for joining us. Make the case. How is this Duke Lacrosse all over again?
Well, before I start, one of New York's finest, a white New York police officer, was shot in the face by a black suspect over the weekend. He continues to cling to life. Keep him in your prayers. As it relates to Baltimore, greater legal minds than mine, including Alan Dershowitz, said this case has been politicized by this state's attorney. He says that it was overcharged, and he said it was done for mob control, and I concur. Look, when she stood up there and had her news conference, totally reasonable and totally legit to just name the charges and the facts surrounding the case and why she brought the charges about. When she starts uttering statements like, no justice, no peace, young people, your time is now, and she hears the voices, she politicized this thing. She went down that political rabbit hole that she should not have. She's emotionally attached. She's received campaign contributions from the attorney representing Mr. Gray's family. There's a conflict of interest here. She should have known better. She should have taken her time, called in some experienced people. I hear she's never handled murder cases. Her time as an assistant prosecutor. This thing just went from bad to worse.
Well, Sheriff, you know, you're lined up against this prosecutor with what you're saying, which is ironic, seeing how you're a cop, and the prosecutor, if anything, is usually accused of being too close to cops. Yes, they say that the defense counsel donated to her campaign, but so did the union. She's got generations of cops in her family, and while she is young, as you well know, two things. One, prosecutors' offices often overcharge with the help of departments like yours, and they rarely use only their own faculties to try a case, right? It's always the whole office. So what is the real root of your concern, especially to analogize this to Duke Lacrosse, which was a horrendous miscarriage of justice by a prosecutor?
Well, look, that is a lie. I don't know what goes on in other counties, but in my county, I've never been a part of a case where a case was overcharged, okay? I've investigated, I've been part of a team of investigators that in 4 years investigated over 400 homicides. I've worked with prosecutors who are deliberate in bringing about murder charges because those are very serious. I don't have any experience in Milwaukee County of cases being overcharged, okay? You don't throw everything up against the wall like spaghetti hoping. Let me finish my statement, sir.
You've never heard of a case where prosecutors...
You don't throw everything at the wall hoping that something sticks. You don't throw everything up at the wall hoping that something sticks, okay? This decision was made very quickly. My understanding, I do not know everything that happened in this case. However, my understanding is she received the Baltimore police case on Friday, and she made this determination within 24 hours. I've never in my all my years of investigating homicides and working with prosecutors in a charging conference seen a homicide charge brought within 24 hours. She needed to read through all of the reports, look through all the evidence, wait for forensics testing to come back. Some of this forensics evidence hasn't been tested yet before she made a decision. There was no rush to do this. But I want to go back once again to some of the statements she made. No justice, no peace is not a legal term. That's a political statement. And that's why I said that she has offered these officers up as red meat to an angry mob. That's inconsistent with our system of justice and the rule of law.
Sheriff, she's a politician, first of all. Politicians say political things. She's in elected office, not as an excuse, but as an explanation. And also, you seem to be glossing over the fact that she was solely dependent on the police report. She wasn't. She'd been conducting her own investigation, and it had been going on for 2 weeks. So it wasn't like she just decided in 24 hours. She had her own investigation going. And do you believe that people are wrong to say that nobody ever gets charged in cases like this, so that they actually see this as a good thing, that someone has charged them, not indicted them? She hasn't gone to a grand jury yet. She hasn't gone to a preliminary hearing yet. These are only charges. We don't know what the rest of the process will hold.
Well, it's not going to go to a grand jury now. I would have recommended to her that she take it to a grand jury because this thing was highly political.
It could. She still has the option.
Well, I hope that she does that. But anyway, that's why I said this case has gone from bad to worse. There's a lot of problems with it. She certainly has the authority to bring criminal charges, but now she's got to prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. And murder is a very high standard.
Understood, Sheriff, and I get your concerns. You've made some very eloquent and powerful statements about how the police are the only ones in these impoverished communities that are trying to defend black life because they're often the only ones there to support the community. So thank you for coming on and making your case. We look forward to having you on again as the process moves forward.
Thanks for saying
Allison?
that. I appreciate it.
Okay, Chris, let's talk a little politics because more Republicans are entering the race for the White House. Our political